coaching change last week, and we'd just like to get your guys' thoughts on all the events. So Matt, why don't you bring us in here?
You know, man, it's wild. It's a wild time to be a Bronco. You know, the only constant in this world is change. So, you know, where we land, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows where we land? I mean, you know, all the circumstances surrounding what had happened, it's all, you know, extremely unfortunate, especially, you know, to an ex-Bronco. But who knows? And who knows, especially in this world of coaching with everything. I mean, it has changed so much from when we played. You know, between the NIL, the transfer portal, there's so many different factors that play now. So who knows, man? Who knows?
Jeff.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. I think with everything that's happened, it's unfortunate, but I think there's a level of excitement that's starting to kind of bubble up now. Who's it going to be? All the rumors. Is it going to be Danielson? Is it going to be somebody outside? So I don't know. I'm excited to see who it's going to be. I think we're probably going to hear after the game. I'm assuming. I don't think we'll hear before. I don't know.
I hope.
Before Monday?
At least before Monday.
Well, you'll have to hear before Monday because of the portal.
Okay.
But,
That brings us back. Is the coach going in the portal?
Yeah, Danielson's made a good case for a D coordinator or head coach, even for that matter.
I will say this: if he's not the guy, I'd be surprised if he's not kept on, whether it's by Dickey forcing the new coach to keep him on, or
yeah, I mean,
you know, who knows?
Or maybe 2 interim head coaching stints might lead to a head coaching position elsewhere.
A lot of
also.
open jobs.
Right.
there's something. One of the more, I think, underrated stories of last week was Nebraska coach. Was it Matt Rule?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He
Before
can't-
we get into that, Jason, we got cut off for the first few minutes, so let's just bring us back in. Let us know who's in front of us and
Oh, okay.
what day it is.
Well, why don't you give it a shot?
I
this
will.
time?
I will.
All right.
This is former BSU lineman Matt Navis and former BSU punter Jeff Edwards joining us on the show. They're going to talk about the Mountain West Championship. We're going to talk about the portal. We're going to talk about all the Boise State things. So we'll turn it over to you guys. It's your show, so take it away.
Okay, so did we miss that whole thing talking about the coaching change? Did we get Matt in there, or when did
I think we
start?
got in there halfway. So
Okay, so yeah, just to summarize, Matt's excited about where it's all going, just like the rest of us. It's definitely never boring in Bronco country around this time of year.
just ask him a question. We don't want to hear you talk. Matt, do you think the coach has done enough here to stay? Do you think Danielson has done enough here to stay? Obviously, his resume is going to be built later today a little bit more,
Right.
one way or the other.
So just looking at their level of play since he has been the interim head coach, it's been different. Like, you can just tell from all the previous games to this game's just a different vibe on the field. And I hate to say it, but it's kind of true. It was like old Bronco football. It reminded me of old Bronco football. Like, guys playing with a passion, and you can see it on all facets of the ball. So, I mean, I absolutely think he's got a chance for sure.
Jeff, we'll give you the same question, too. What are your thoughts on, has he done enough, or is it still, maybe that's why the announcement hasn't been made yet. Maybe we're waiting for this game.
So, you know, that's a tough question. I don't think has he done enough? Yeah, for sure. He's got the kids fired up. They're playing loose for sure. Like, they're playing like they got nothing to lose. They've had a lot of luck along the way to get into the position that they're in. Has he done enough? Probably. Is he going to be the guy that they pick? In my opinion, I think what they're going to end up doing is going with somebody that's probably a little more offensive. The thing that I think may be going against him is that when Avalos was hired, he was this young up-and-coming coach, defensive-minded, first-time head coach. Is that the same thing that they want to do? Do they want to do that again? I feel like that's a high risk for that's a real gamble for Dickey.
Yeah.
Not to say it won't happen. I just don't know if that's the road they want to go down again.
I'm interested in how much input the players, how much Dickey is communicating with the players on this, because I feel like there was some communication about Andy's removal between the players and the AD. At least that's kind of, how I think that kind of played out a little bit, and likewise, the players are really fired up about Danielson coming right out of their own mouths every week. Every day there's somebody singing his praises in the locker room before practice. So hopefully, if the players like him, and you know, I think Dickey's in a tough spot because if he doesn't do what the players want, everybody could bail.
Right.
And back to what I was saying about Matt Rule, talking about it's $1 or $2 million to get a quarterback, and it's $5 to $7 million for a top. There's $7 million players out there, is what he said.
That's not a world Boise State's ever going to be in, though.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it blows my mind that that's what college football has become.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's business. I mean, literally,
it
that's the
is.
essence of a business. So,
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, with that being said, the players now, as part of the business now, actually being paid, they have more say than ever before, more than you guys did.
Well, I would like to think that they would have a say. I mean, hell, just in my tenure at BSU, we went through 3 different head coaches, and I don't remember ever being asked,
Never
who
won.
should be the next coach, right? And
Yeah.
it's different now.
Your $300 Scully check was not enough to sway the
Yeah.
You're
the AD to
You got
hire in a
$300.
new coach.
You got $300.
$298.
That's not fair here, Matt. I think you had like 7 years here at BSU or something like that. A couple of red shirts and a medical or
Couple
something
medicals.
like.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
word
here
on
for
the
a while.
street is he's got 2 more
Yeah.
months of eligibility. Yeah.
in.
Suit him up. Get him. Somebody get him on a
Suit him
flight down to LA, or to Vegas.
Yeah, I was a 6-year senior before it was cool.
Yeah.
Back to the coaching. We're all in agreement. There's going to be another coach. I mean, it may be Danielson, but let's look at where I think it's headed outside the program. I think he wants to bring someone in with head coaching experience. So that's just my personal opinion. But along those lines, like where do you go from there? Do you bring someone back familiar to the program, or do you go and take a left turn and go in a different direction?
So I know for me personally, I might have the non-popular opinion. I think what has been built at Boise State and what Jeff and I have been, and Turner even have been, been able to build at Boise State, it's something special and it's something different. And there's a different mindset about playing football here. And I think it is only something that can come from a coach or a player that has played here. I haven't seen it duplicated yet. And it's been unfortunate. Like when Harsin came, everyone was fired up. An ex-BSU player knows what's going on, right? And that didn't work out. Same thing with Avalos. Avalos comes on, everyone's fired up, right? He comes from Boise State, that blue-collar mentality, knows how to win, knows what we need to do, and that didn't work out. So I can see the flip side of that coin being like, yeah, we need to go outside the agent or the college to try to find a new
The
coach here.
coaching tree, as they call it.
Right. Yeah, that we need to go outside. But, I think for what we have here, because I truly think that we are different here at Boise State. And so, to me, the search needs to definitely include, ex-players.
100%.
Well, let's go into a different. Jeff, you mentioned, Boise State's never going to play in an arena where they're paying $2 million to a player. But it might work the other way. They might bring in a young guy in here who tears it up 1 year, and now he's got $2 million offers all over the SEC. So I guess how does Boise State, deal with that, or what's the plan going forward? Do you bring a kid in like that and just accept him, or I'll let you talk on that.
So my take on it is that that's a tough situation to be in, because I think Boise State does a really good job of recruiting kids in that might fly under the radar, develop them, and then the way everything's set up now, it's kind of a perfect storm with you have NIL stuff and you have the transfer portal, and unfortunately, other teams are able to just buy kids. I don't say buy in a bad way. It's just if I were a student athlete and I had an opportunity to make $500,000, $1 million, dude,
I would
sorry.
support you 100% too.
You have to take that, because that could be the most money you ever make.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no guarantee that any of these guys are making the NFL. And even if they do, what are their, like if they don't go in the first round, you're making what, league minimum, which is what is that now?
Yeah,
Like
peanuts.
$400,000?
Close to a mil.
Yeah, I mean, you can make more now as a college athlete than you can in the NFL. So I mean, in my opinion, you got to get that money. Now, how do you keep those kids? I don't know. That's tough. I mean, I guess it really have to depend on money that's brought in from outside of the football arena or the whatever. You need
Yeah, booster
corporations,
money, yeah.
boosters.
Yeah.
You need all these different things. Is Boise big enough to support that? I don't. Not right now, in my
doubled.
opinion.
I think a lot of it's
Doubled.
going to depend on too.
It's
the,
still not enough. I mean, one player. I mean, let's just say Genty, for example.
Okay.
The guy is an absolute stud. If Texas reached out to someone in his family and says, "Hey, enter the portal. We got $1 million waiting for him." I mean, what does Boise State do?
And you
Shake
maybe,
his hand, wish him luck.
That's it. That's all you can do.
We
really.
asked Q last week, Quentin Michael, and he actually said, I mean, you'd have to, we all would entertain, it's money.
Right.
But he said, I mean,
Yeah.
if you bring the right guy in here, maybe that guy's goals are different. Maybe he's committed to the program. But I think you have to be ready for the fact there might be some minor league aspect here where you're going to bring in guys and expect to lose a certain percentage.
Yeah.
I think it's going to depend on what happens with the conference shakeup that happening this year on the West Coast. If the Mountain West and the Pac-2 can forge some type of new conference and make it competitive and exciting to watch, I think that'd be very. I don't know. That's like one of the last things that's maybe even on the table. Hopefully, that Pac-West, cooperation or whatever will entice enough players to stay around, but.
Somebody's
But,
got to
man.
fill up those late night ESPN games.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. They're going to be on TV every night. I remember that was a big deal for some of the players when we were here. Is man, we get to play all of our games on TV this year.
Right.
Like that was a big deal.
Yeah, because that was new to Boise State.
Yes.
The Boise State hadn't been in that position. My wife mentioned something to me the other day that really stood out in my mind, was talking about the coaching changes at Oregon State and the pool of money that the head coach has for his assistants compared to Boise State's pool of money for their assistants. And it was half. Right?
Yeah.
And we also talked about, possibly of a Pac-2 and Mountain West, collusion or getting together and make their own conference. And I have a feeling that when you get an Oregon State or Washington State that comes into the Mountain West, that hopefully we start to see that money come in so we can level the playing field across the conference when it comes to what we can pay our coaches.
Well, I think they actually cut a deal. Weird. Everybody's in Vegas this weekend. It came out they cut a deal. I think they're going to give $14 million, and they're going to each, Oregon State and is going to play, they'll each play 6 teams in the Mountain West.
Okay.
If you had a previously scheduled game, you keep that, it looks like. So
Okay.
you could play them twice in 1 year. So it looks like it's a little trial run maybe for next year and
Right.
kind of see it. In the thing I read, it was also going to expand possibly to basketball too. So,
Oh, nice.
I
Okay.
mean, it looks like, everybody's on the same page about this new league, but also, slowly, dipping
Baby
their toe in the
steps.
water.
Right.
Jeff, I got a question for you. I'm so glad you're here because this one is a punter question. All right. James Ferguson Reynolds was left out of the finalist
Right.
list for the punter of the year. The Doak Award, was it? Or
Ray
is that the
Guy.
running back?
Ray
It's a
Guy.
Ray Guy
Ray Guy
Award. Sorry. Well, Jonty was left out of the Doak Award, but Ferguson Reynolds was left out of the Ray Guy Award. Do you think that's a gross injustice, or do you think he's a young guy that was other older punters? I don't know. What do you think, man?
So I saw this earlier in the week, and I didn't realize his average was like 50 yards
Oh yeah.
punting average.
Yeah.
Incredible, right?
Incredible.
I think he's second in the nation, or
I think he's
Number one.
leading.
Is he
was
leading
number
the
one.
He was
nation?
number
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Number one.
So my question to it is, I don't know what is it that they're looking for when they put these lists together?
Yeah.
I know they probably look initially. They say, oh, here's the top 10, punting averages. But is it a punting average that they're looking for? Are they looking for is there other criteria that they're looking at?
The guy's
I
got
don't get it personally.
Yeah. The guy's got a legit fan club, like on
Well,
all
yeah.
over social media. He's a star.
Yeah,
he's literally a star.
absolutely. But-
And he's going to be one of the guys we got to be careful not losing in the portal too, because they're doing like marketing for him. They got all these animations and stuff. Like
He's
it's
a
crazy.
stud. I can't tell you how many times I've seen him flip the field, which is
Yep.
damn near changed the game
Yeah.
for Boise State.
Just last
So,
week, right? He booted
Yeah.
one and pinned
Yeah.
him down within the 10 or
Absolutely.
something like that.
So
It's
yeah,
crazy.
so to answer your question, I have no idea because I don't know what their criteria is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's net average, if it's gross average,
I saw
punting average.
a boom rating or something, some standard, Moneyball stat that they all
Yeah.
get excited about. Yeah, it's crazy, but
Yeah, I don't get it, and I don't understand how they come up with their
yeah,
candidates and stuff like that, who they're looking to choose. But
Well, I think there's been a little bit of a snub by the general media world by BSU this year in general. I mean, it's a very It's like a turning point in college football this year with the exodus from the Pac-12. Right, all the conferences are shook up, and they're not looking to bring any attention to Boise State while they're trying to exclude them from the playoff picture and championship, stuff like that. Like we've all experienced throughout our whole our careers with the BCS. But man, the way they're setting it up, man, they're holding all the chips. They got all the cards, and they are not interested in sharing with us, just like they ever have. And it almost makes me wish we had the BCS back, to be honest with you. As like imperfect that was, it was almost better than what's going on right now. When you add in the portal and all that stuff too, it's crazy.
yeah, I kind of have a feeling that they're just going to end up breaking away from the NCAA anyways at some point.
Oh, the football?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
NCAA is on a downward spiral for sure.
They
Yeah.
have no leg to stand on.
No. You're gonna declare me ineligible? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna get paid, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. It's crazy.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's wild. So, another thing we were talking about was, So with the portal, I mean, how much is this going to turn into a farm league for like the SEC and the Power 5 conferences, and then in general, I mean, how out of the realm of possibility is it someone hitting the portal to the NFL like mid-season or something like that? What's stopping them from doing anything like that?
Besides the NFL.
Well, I mean,
Minor detail.
Yeah, I think they're.
I mean, they like putting exciting players on TV, don't they?
That's
Isn't that part of
true,
their business
But
plan?
I think they're friends with the old network down there in the SEC, and you notice like Monday night games get taken off for the national champ. We move around. We don't put Saturday games on until all the college games are done. So there's a little backdoor deal
maybe
there.
this year, yeah. But I'm saying like it's just gonna get bigger and more crazy as time goes on.
My question is, let's say the portal's Monday, right?
Yeah.
Take Boise State out. It's any school. Are there going to be schools that are like getting nervous? Do we have enough of a team here to play in a bowl game? I mean, it could turn into at a school where a coach is fired or left. It could turn into a mass exodus. This bowl season you could be seeing different teams play, I guess.
I mean, I don't see that. I think every team's going to have enough players to, I don't see half a team just leaving and entering the portal. Is that what you're saying? Like, to where they're like, oh, it's game day. We have, our fourth string guys or our redshirt guys that are having to suit
Well,
up.
let me give you a better. We lost our top 2 quarterbacks, our running back, our wide receiver, and our middle linebacker. Like, is that going to be the same team in the bowl game? That's kind of my question. If you
I
lose
see
3 or
what you're
4,
saying.
important pieces.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's been going on for the last couple of years.
I know, with the players sitting out, to get ready for the pros.
It's not like they haven't been dealing with it already.
I mean,
Go ahead.
the way I kind of look at bowl games, like bowl games are cool and it's always fun to go to a bowl game. Obviously, what it does, financially for the university, but the kids to also go and enjoy a bowl week experience. But really, at the end of the day, what does the bowl game matter?
Oh no, there's only 2-3 bowl games that matter.
Correct. Right. So, yes, does everyone want to get a win? Does everyone want to win that goes to a bowl game? Yeah, 100%. But I think at the end of the day, if you have to field, a couple key positions because of the transfer portal, I mean, what does a loss mean at the end of the day for when it comes to a bowl game, especially like a, Great Idaho Potato Bowl, right? Or like when we were playing the Humanitarian Bowl.
The
right?
Crucial.com.
Yeah, Crucial.com Humanitarian Bowl, right? And for us, that was big time, though.
Yeah.
Because we had never been to one, and Boise State was a growing school at that time, so it was awesome because it gave us exposure.
Yes.
It gave us national exposure.
If I'm not mistaken, you get extra practice time too, which is right. You get 3 more weeks to
Right.
work with a young team.
Depending on when the game is, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
So that's a bonus. I'm just saying.
I mean, I know there's already a bowl game scheduled for next week, right? I
Yeah.
mean, so there's, some schools are only going to have, 5 days to prepare for a bowl game.
Just
where-
like a regular game in the season.
right. Or if you
basically.
look at like the Pac-12 championship and their bowl game that they're going to be playing, they have 1 month. They have 1 month to prepare.
Yeah.
So
Next week, they already got a bowl game next week.
The LA Bowl,
the
yeah.
LA
Good
Bowl,
Lord.
yeah.
Is it going up against when's the Army Navy game? Army Navy games
That's
next
what I
week?
was thinking.
Yeah. I think they get their own spotlight still. I don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know. It's all changing as we speak.
That's wild.
Yeah, the transfer portal is completely changed. That between that and the NIL has changed college football.
So did the NIL come in at the same time as the transfer portal? Were those happen at the same time, or did the portal open up first and then the NIL started like a year or two later?
Yeah, I think it was the portal and then NIL a year or two after that.
The
Yeah.
portal just states you don't. I mean, back when you guys played, you transferred. You sat out a year.
Well, that's if you went from we're really dating
Depends.
ourselves here, but if you went from a 1A to a 1A school, yes, you had to sit out a year. You lost a year of eligibility.
You could go down in place.
Yeah, you could
next
go
year.
to a 1A to a 1AA school and play.
Immediately.
Yep.
And you could also go from a JC to a 1A school and start playing immediately too.
Okay, but now you can go anywhere and start
Yeah,
playing them.
anywhere.
Once, or is it? Can you hop a couple times?
I think I saw. Oh, what's his name?
Well,
Bachmeyer
yeah, Bachmeyer
entered the
entered
portal
again.
again this year. I heard. Yeah.
did.
So I was just gonna ask that. Like, I thought it was one time, right?
Maybe the nil
No
added
penalty.
to it.
Now it just seems like guys
Yeah.
are just transferring all the time.
Yeah, and you always see like
What about that JT Daniels kid? Didn't he start out at like SC, went to Georgia, now he's at Tulane?
oh yeah. He's
I
going
mean-
all over the place.
Yeah.
Maybe they make you give some of the money back. Like you can leave again, but you're getting half of this.
That's awesome.
So that's yeah. Well, I guess I've got a question here about was it the kid from Rupert Gatling?
Gatlin Bear.
Yeah, he's decommitted.
Yep.
So this is my business question,
Okay.
since we're running a business now, not a team.
Right.
How are you going to commit to an employee 2 years down the line? I mean, that to me is ludicrous. It's like having a 10th grader sign on with your team.
I'm against it. Only, in my time at BSU, we saw some kids that were supposed to be like the Gatlin Bears. Like this kid's going to be amazing when he gets here, he's going to change BSU football. And then they go away for a couple of years and they come back a completely different person. So, in my experience, just in my opinion, it has not worked out for us. But, I mean, that was also how many 20 years ago?
And once again, you can't blame. I mean, it's what Oregon and Michigan that have come calling. I'm sure they never stopped calling.
No, they
Correct.
did not. And that was a unique situation as well. I feel like when kids commit, which doesn't really mean anything anymore because
Yep.
you see it all the time. Like they commit, there's this big hoopla, and then, a couple months later, I'm opening recruiting again.
The hat, right?
And it's so, I don't know, it's laughable at this point. But with Bear, when I'd heard, because I didn't know he was Mormon, was going to go on a mission. I remember when he had committed to Boise State, I was like, dang, dude, that's a big get for like Boise State. Makes sense. He's a, Idaho kid. They need to recruit, all the kids in the state and try and retain them. But when I heard he was going to go on a mission, I was like, dude, there's no way he's coming here. There's so much that can change in 3 years. I mean, you're talking 3 years before he would even set foot on campus. And even if, look, within 6 months, we've already got a new coach
A whole
from
new
when
everything.
he's,
So much changes.
committed, yeah.
So much changes. I mean, never mind from when a kid commits to when they actually get here, so much can change. But like you were saying, Jeff, you
Yeah.
add in an extra 2 years,
Yeah.
possibly 3 years before he gets here. I mean, look how much has changed in, since fall camp started for Boise State, let alone 3 years' time.
that with the coaching carousel that happens at Boise State, because let's be honest, it's a stepping stone for a lot of these coaches. By the time he gets here, there's so much that has revolved coaching wise, with that revolving door that he probably he wouldn't even know half the guys that were recruiting him by the time he even got here. Even if assuming the head coach was still here.
It was pretty ridiculous too how, I think everyone was real excited about Andy coming here because we felt that that's not someone that might stay around if a better offer came through. And then we're just throwing that out the door, immediately. Like as soon as, I don't know. People could say that the records aren't what Boise State football is used to seeing, and like we need 10 wins this season. It was a failure. But those people, to me, they're fans. We appreciate them very much, but they don't think about the game like logically and as a business, maybe as John was putting it. It's all emotional, and they just want something to change now, so it'll make them feel better, and they can suck on it for a little while or whatever.
What are the odds that Gatlin Bear ends up at whatever college Mr. Avalos is coaching at in
Yeah.
a year or two?
What
What are the odds on that?
That was my follow-up
man,
with
that's-
0. I think he's going to end up at Michigan, or what's the other school that
Well,
he's
you've got
at?
the
Oregon?
other-
Oregon.
You
I
got the
think
other
he'll
kid
probably be at
from
Oregon.
there's
Or
another
Michigan.
kid from Rupert, the tight end that plays at Michigan. Remember Harbaugh slept at his house and came
Isn't that a
recruited?
buddy of his?
I know they played together, so I mean, right there.
I
you're-
mean,
that's
there's a
enough.
connection.
Yeah.
I
So-
can see that happen. But Harbaugh may not be there.
So then when it comes to like Gatlin,
Who knows?
He's in trouble with his own conference,
Yeah.
though. That's he's double trouble. So
It wouldn't surprise me if he goes to the NFL anyways. He might be sick of all of it and just be like, I'm out.
that's true. We'll take you in New York. That's off topic.
I think another thing to consider when it comes to Gatlin Bear is if he wants to run track. So I don't have social media, but my wife and my daughter do, and my daughter is big into track. And we had the pleasure of seeing Gatlin Bear compete in the Idaho State Championships, both in the 100 and 200. And I will tell you, I have never seen anything like that in my life with my own two eyes. Someone that big that can move that fast. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, in the times that he posted in the 100 and 200 were amazing. And I know he has come out on social media and says that he is done with track to focus on football, right? But I think of what is the track mecca when it comes to NCAA?
Oregon.
Oregon, 100% Oregon. So I don't know if there's some sort of, maybe there's a possible deal in there, like, hey, if you come here, we'll let you run track too.
Okay. So it's not all about football.
I'm not saying that it is. I'm just.
May
I
not.
think, I think that's something that's worth looking at. Or,
Yeah,
you know,
that's a
something
good-
worth-
that's another angle
something
that
worth
I've-
talking about.
I think it's not out of the realm of possibility for him to land where Andy goes. Partially because Andy was known as an amazing recruiter, right? I don't know about you, but the recruiting coach, like that's a pretty close relationship you have with the coach that recruited you. Doesn't matter if they're your position coach or not. And Andy, like I said, notoriously an excellent recruiter everywhere he was been before, when he was at BSU, when he was at Oregon. I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon would have him back on staff just to help get kids into class. I mean, onto campus, because that's where a lot of the money is made in college football. It is the recruiting of the players. I mean, it's step one, right?
Yeah.
Well, Oregon's got a lot of money to buy kids too. So.
Exactly.
Well, and if I'm not at that when he ran that in the state championships, Andy, I believe, was at the finish line, waiting to shake his hand. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of how.
I did know that there was some Boise State coaches that were in the stands watching him run. So,
At the track meet,
yep,
actually.
at the track meet. Yep.
Interesting
We'll see
stuff,
if that
guys.
relationship carries over.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just something, like I said, to consider or something worth talking about. Maybe it's nothing, but
Well, we wish him well wherever he goes, but we're going to get back to Boise State. He's not a part of it, just like me. So we'll ask you guys the questions. So, Jason, good question. You got something on your mind?
No, not at the moment. I'm trying to draw a blank right now. You go ahead, John. You go ahead.
I'm just excited. You want to talk about this game that they're going to actually play down there? You know, they put it in the computers. Lo and behold, the school with the best stadium and the school with the most presence got in the championship. So, sorry, San Jose State.
Not that many ticket sales as of earlier this week. I had like 15,000 tickets or something like that. So
It's definitely not going to look like last night.
no,
no, it's not. And I know tickets were pretty cheap too. I think like $32.
there was some $30 tickets
Yeah, there
available.
was.
yeah.
For last night or today?
For tonight.
today's
Yeah,
game.
For today's
And
and I
sinking.
think I'd heard it was like a buy one get one too. So now you're looking at like $750 a ticket.
Okay, but they'll get a good shot low in the stadium. They know how to play that shot
yeah.
down low. So it is going to be on Fox, nationally televised game, 1 o'clock. That's the coveted spot on Saturday. So as far as exposure there, recruiting, I mean,
obviously, it's a great opportunity for Boise State, right? Especially kind of how our season has gone this year. And like Jeff had said earlier, like there was a lot of other pieces that were outside of BSU's control that allowed them to be in this position, which I think is awesome, especially for Boise State. Yeah, the national exposure is great. I've heard so many people talk about, throughout the years, ever since we were done playing football, should Boise State be able to make a run at the national championship? And I said, well, how about we win the Mountain West first?
Yeah.
Like, let's start there, right? Because when's the last time that BSU's won the Mountain West championship?
2019.
Yeah,
Right.
3, 4.
Yeah.
Correct, right? 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then even 2019, how many years before that did we not get it?
It's like 14, 17. There's a lot of spaces
Yeah.
in those
Correct,
teams.
right? And so we need to be able, I think, as a school, we need to be able to capitalize on this opportunity to win the Mountain West championship.
It brings me to kind of a point I made last year. The Mountain West seems to be a conference on the rise as a whole. I mean, BSU came in and swept them for a decade or something like that. But then, all the rising tide, raises all ships. So they've really, I think, along the coast especially, they've really stepped up the competition.
The competition level in the Mountain West is unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just to your point, when we were playing, we came in and we rolled people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like we had a double-digit, margin of victory in each game.
Yeah.
And
I remember
these-
hanging 77 on San Jose one year.
exactly.
wild.
Right? Yep. Or like 60 on, Fresno.
Yeah,
Right. And
yeah.
so, you just look at the competition level that has happened in the Mountain West with all the schools. How many years ago was that, we had a loss to Utah State, right? Or a San Jose State or a San Diego State, right?
We never lose to those guys.
Correct, like ever, right?
Ever.
Or even like a Colorado State, right?
Never.
But look at to where they've been able to bring their programs. And I can tell you firsthand, like Wyoming, my daughter and I went on a recruiting trip to Wyoming because she's looking for track. And I thought BSU had some of the best facilities that I've ever seen. And then I stepped foot on Wyoming's campus. And I'm like mind blown. Like the amount of money that they have spent for all of their athletics, not just football, because they're dedicated. And obviously, look at what Wyoming's been able to do.
So we kind of covered the punter play this year, but it's kind of overshadowed by Jonty and Halani and Breezy. But the O line this year, Matt, studs. Am I right?
100%
Yeah,
studs.
yeah.
Like they have played. The O line has played probably the best I've seen them play in a number of years. On all facets of the ball, right?
Yeah.
Between pass protection and run, the run blocking, it's been great to see.
Yeah.
It's been a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and you get fired up as an offensive lineman when you see somebody running that hard too. It gets you going, 100%.
Well, it motivates you,
Yeah.
right? It motivates you when you have a guy. I'd love to see what Genty's yards after contact are.
Oh yeah, it's leading the country or something. Or after initial or forced missed tackles, I think he's like up there, and all kinds of crazy stats they have on him.
But yeah, when you're an O lineman and you have a running back, when you have two running backs that can run like that.
Did you see that highlight of the game last week when Jonty breaks for like 60 towards the north end zone, and they had a speedometer on him. Like he hits somebody and still reaches like 21 miles per hour in 5.5 seconds, dude. It's crazy. And hits someone at the second level on the way. It's nothing. I haven't seen anybody like that run like that since George Halani, a young George Halani, really.
Right. Yep.
And have both those guys healthy this year, or kind of on and off, or being able to pick each other up has been the savior pretty much of our season, really.
Yeah. When you got someone running like that in the backfield as a lineman, you will block your ass off.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah, they're beasts. Both those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all beasts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back to the competitiveness. You were talking about the competitiveness in the Mountain West. Is there a correlation that there's actually teams that are coming in here giving BSU a game and the amount of people in the stadium? Because I think, it's fun to win every game and go 13-0, but it's not really fun to win every game 60-0, or people were skipping games, and now it seems like the opponents coming in here a little more staunch.
Well, the no re-entry to the stadium helps that a little bit.
I also think alcohol sales.
Alcohol sales.
That's the obvious one.
I didn't want to go that route.
They
but
were $14 a beer. I was
think
like, well,
ticket-
they're almost getting a pro level here. They figure that pricing
I
system
think
out.
ticket prices have come down a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken. maybe not the good ones, but I think they do have cheaper seats in the south end zone and north end zones and stuff like that.
But it's good football.
Yes.
Right? It's good football. I mean, how many years ago it was where, everyone, majority of people were leaving at halftime. It's like there's no football left to watch, right? There's not going to be a game.
It's just going to be cold.
Right. Yeah. You add in all the other things like the no reentry, the alcohol.
The late
sales.
starts.
Yeah, the late
Well,
starts.
when
yep.
you're up 40 at halftime too, it makes it easy to go back out to the parking lot and warm up,
Celebrate,
with a
yeah.
liquid, some sort of liquid.
Correct. Right. But when you have a higher competition level and
Yeah.
we're, they're playing us close, or it's actually good football to watch. Yeah, absolutely. You want to go see that game.
Yeah. Yeah, with Air Force, I mean, it was tight. I mean, they had a shot up until like 5 minutes left in
Right.
the fourth last
Yep.
week. So.
Well, I assume it's Oregon State or Washington State is coming next year. I mean, I know the
Both.
schedule's not out, but
No.
coming here.
Oh, not coming here. So, from what I saw, we got currently we have Oregon State, and Washington State on the schedule.
Okay,
They're
already.
Yes.
So-
So one of them will be here.
So
I
yeah,
think
you'll
it
get a
might-
home and home then.
I think it's Oregon State because I think we're at Oregon.
Okay.
So next year is going to be a rough schedule.
Well, I'm wondering
It's going to be
if they're going to schedule like, from what I read, it doesn't matter your existing games. You're going to get another game with Oregon State and Washington State. So it might be a situation next year where BSU plays, home and home with both
I
of those
think
teams.
if I read it right, we're replacing a game for the Washington State game, and I think it might be a conference game. So they're just gonna play
switch
one
it
less
around?
yeah.
Okay.
So there'll be one less conference game, but
So I mean,
So-
to
bad,
accommodate the Washington State.
bad
game.
for the Pac-12, good for Boise State scheduling.
Yeah, and look, if we get those guys to come into the stadium, I think it's exciting for all the fans, for everybody, because we all want to see, the Wazoos, Oregon States, any of the schools that are, big Power Fives, come in and see what we can do
We
and
almost
play them
got
on the blue. But
Michigan State, there was a deal that they backed out
Yeah.
of, but
Yep.
Michigan State was originally scheduled to come
So,
here.
going back to the business aspect of it, I mean, I remember Jeremiah Dickey talking to a bunch of us about, people were upset that that Michigan State deal kind of fell through, but then he was able to speak to, hey, we added these other games at this dollar amount, like what just the amount of money that canceling the Michigan State
Saved.
deal
Yeah.
not only saved us, but how much more money we got out of the.
So it was a
these
net
3 years.
positive in
Yeah.
the budget.
it wasn't actually canceling the game. I think Michigan State bought that game
Right,
out, so
right.
we ended up making.
And then adding
2 million or
these,
whatever
I think
it
there
is.
was
I
3
don't
other
remember.
games, and I can't remember what schools they were at. But
So with all this money on the table for the players, guys, and coaches and everybody, so like remember? Okay, we're gonna go back in time here when we were playing. You had 4 years here, right? And then you had guys. So you would interact with guys that had been here for 4 years, or your freshman, or 5 years, or whatever. So you had this group of players that was constantly people coming and going, but you were with a good, solid, like you had a good like 150 to 200 teammates that you were playing with for 3 years, basically. So now, are we going to get a lot of guys that are just like a lot of teams that are just like we're about this season? We're about like my guys are on my team this year. Do we lose that? Do we lose does the brotherhood suffer for all the money? You know what I'm saying? Like, are those guys going to get that experience that we had where we see people that we might have, played with, or like maybe I was on scout team with like, with somebody for a year, my freshman year, but was a senior, and we still have a bond. Especially our team, we had a lot of extenuating circumstances that brought everybody real close together, and all that stuff. But like, is it just gonna be like I don't know, the portal opening up? It seems almost akin to the trade deadline in the NBA, where it's like bang, 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 and everyone's paying it a real close attention for a few days, and like, it's all about this year and what can I get, and me, and all that stuff. So, what do you think is there going to be a greater cost for the players with all the money that they're getting? And doesn't matter, is it a wash because the money is so good, right? Everyone likes the money.
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case. The brotherhood and what it meant to me and how it changed and like shaped my life going forward is like it's irreplaceable. You can't replicate that or duplicate that. I hope that's not the case. Unfortunately, I could see that possibly being the case with the money. I don't know, Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't know if it's going to be how many guys you come in with. Say 20 guys.
Yeah. If on a good year, yeah.
Yeah. I think you're probably going to lose a quarter of those guys. when it's all said and done, possibly. I mean, you could still recruit guys that are, that have some, I don't want to say loyalty, because, if you're getting offered a ridiculous amount of money, it's hard to.
Yeah, Q mentioned
know.
last week the chip on the shoulder was a big deal to everybody coming in here that got, kind of recruited by some bigger schools and left behind. Well, now they get a chance in a year
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you get to prove yourself.
to work out
Yeah.
and get on that program or whatever.
So I mentioned earlier, Boise State is a stepping stone for a lot of coaches.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel like it might be the same thing for players now, right?
It's a level
maybe
playing
you're-
field now.
Yeah,
kinda,
maybe you're talking to, some of these bigger schools, but they didn't offer you or they didn't have a scholarship for you. So now you can come here, play a year, ball out, and then hit the
Yeah.
portal and move on up.
I mean,
Yeah.
I hope
that's not the
hope
case.
that's not
Yeah.
the case. I mean,
Yeah, I agree with you.
I
on
think
that.
it's probably inevitable that may happen. Just
Yeah.
to give a perfect example, I was class of '97, and when I reached my senior year and I got my
That was 2007, right?
right, and I got my couple medical redshirt years, and it was really, I mean, I can tell you my body did not want to play football anymore, but it was like all of my best friends and guys that are still my friends to this day were all class of '98. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to hang it out for one more year so I can graduate and play a final season with my best friends. Right? And so, to talk to your brotherhood,
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope, and I hope to God that still is the case now. But, I mean,
That seems to be what's being projected by the players right now. There's a lot of bleed blue. I see, on social media, everyone's still posting. Maybe not so much bleed blue, but the players are supporting each other. They're boosting and supporting each other, and I love that. And maybe it's like you'll be tight with your recruiting class and just keep in touch when you're playing in the SEC championship in a few years or something. I don't know how it's going to work. It'll still be there, but it'll be different, I'm sure,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's only so many starting positions in college. There's only so many teams to start on. There's only so much money. So at a certain point, it doesn't really matter. I mean, sorry, Alabama has 3 good wide receivers. It doesn't matter how good you are. They're not calling you this year.
Well, I think if you're a guy that enters a portal, it's a gamble, right? Unless you have a deal already made before you hit the portal, there's no guarantee that you're going to get to a bigger school, because there could be better athletes that are entering the portal for your position that, may get swooped up, and then you end up at La Tech.
I wonder how that even works. Like, let's say you have a nil deal here at Boise State for getting whatever you're getting. More than we got paid, that's for sure. But what if, like, okay, get your numbers up. You're still being recruited by Michigan and Oregon, even though you're here playing. Does NIL restrict other teams from paying you while you're playing for another team? Like, because I heard that there's players that are like they're giving the families, they can give their families money. They can do anything, dude. Like, it's insane how.
This is what I was saying about the NCAA, though.
What
What are they going to do?
What if someone's been paying you
Nothing.
since your junior
No.
year,
Right.
in high
So
school?
it's a free for all. The NCAA is got zero. They're not going to do anything. They're most certainly not going to do anything to big schools, right? Those are their money makers. So outside of that, I'd be surprised if they ever came down and punished a school with, something significant for paying kids
That aren't even on their team.
before they've transferred into that school.
That's terrible in a way.
it's
It's
all-
great. It's
yeah.
great, but it's. I wish I wouldn't have been paid anyways. I'm not. I had like my nil rating would have been like 52 or
you would have owed money.
Yeah. They would have had.
You would have to pay.
I know Reggie Bush
would've
is really
deducted.
upset about this whole situation.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, I know.
He'd asked for his ring back, I believe. He was like, "What are we doing here?"
On that Michigan basketball team, remember they all got
they should
busted.
get their trophy back. We should
SC
go back in
and-
time.
SC
Yeah.
in the 90s, Southern Methodist, SMU, right?
Oh, yeah, they got the
death
death
penalty.
sentence.
The death
yeah.
penalty.
Yeah, they're like,
Well, I think, Jason, you brought it up last week. It's always been there here at Boise State. There's guys that have left after their junior year for the NFL, and there's guys that have done great, and there's guys that have left after their junior year, and that's kind of the last we ever heard of you. Other than training camp.
Right.
So, back to your point, Jeff, a risk. There's always a risk. Now there's just more opportunities and more risks
Yeah.
to take.
If a guy's willing to leave, if you're in-house, if you're, say, part of the class, and you have guys leaving. I think it's an opportunity for the other guys that maybe have been stuck behind them. Like now, it's time to like step it up, like start working. I don't know if it's working harder or whatever it is, but it's time to shine. Yeah. And look at Austin Bolt.
Yep. Yep.
McAllister, right? He enters a portal. Bolt comes in and starts making plays right away.
And Strahan too, both of those
Yeah,
guys in
and-
that very
yeah.
next game.
Loved it. I was like, that's what Boise State needs.
Yeah,
Let's not just have one guy. Let's get a couple
Yeah.
of guys that just step up and they're like, screw it, we're just
think-
going to ball out from here.
Capitalizing on
Yeah.
opportunities that
Totally.
are given to them.
The game before he left, I think he was targeted like 17 times, and
It-
everyone
yeah.
else had like 3 or 4 maybe.
Standing there,
Yeah.
not even running the route at a
Right.
certain
It's
point.
Crazy.
Yeah, it just creates more opportunity for guys. So,
Well, I mean, the NFL has had free agency for not forever, but for a long time, and this is kind of what it is. It doesn't mean because you have the most money that you're gonna and you buy the best players doesn't mean you're gonna win.
Right.
I mean,
It's true.
so you still have to build a team.
There's
even-
way more teams though. There's
That's
fewer
true.
teams in the NFL.
You have a
It's
little
hard. It's
smaller
easier to
talent pool.
and it's
Yeah.
still fairly new, right? We've
Yeah.
only been dealing with this for, 2-3 years now? Like, they'll get it figured out. And then
So I'm
it's
wondering
just going to be the new way of.
what's going to happen. Like, okay, let's say you're San Jose, right? And you go and you lobby Silicon Valley, and you get $1 billion recruiting pool. Could you start then recruiting from the SEC to come play at San Jose State, where the richest people in the whole world live?
So I actually had this conversation with somebody. I think that's the only way the NCAA steps in is when the big schools start complaining about,
Bigger markets. Yeah.
like a smaller school that just has a ton of money and is like, hey, we're just going to start poaching those kids.
yeah. What if
And
Harvard comes through and starts recruiting everybody?
NCAA will step in real quick.
Harvard does have a lot of
A
money.
lot
I
of
don't
money
know.
over there. Yeah.
Well, so did Stanford, and they didn't fare too well this year.
Oh, there you go. That's
Still new. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, I think that Nebraska coach Rule really let the kind of cat out of the bag, and
Gave
I
out
don't
the
know if
pricing?
I don't
Gave
know
out
if
the pricing?
everybody knew what the going rates were. He kind of he kind of let everybody know what the market is out there.
And at the same time, he said, I want to develop a quarterback in my own system. So he was pushing back against, I'm not
Yeah.
buying a quarterback here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's the way to go about this. So, I mean,
Hmm.
there are a lot of, people that want to build something, want to stay somewhere. And I'd like to think, even though they don't know it yet, 15, 16-year-olds will get into college and realize that's what I want to be. I want to stay somewhere. I want to build a legacy. Like, I know there's money, but
Right.
I think we should also mention too, like not every kid is out to get the bag, right? There are tons of kids that never get talked about that are there for the school or whatever it may be, and they're just loyal to it no matter what they're going to get offered.
Yeah. Man, if I knew a kid
You're only
like
going
that.
to hear about the kids that take the money,
That's
right?
true.
If I knew a kid like that had an offer on the table and was thinking about not taking it, I'd maybe try to talk to him and change his mind, because that's just a bad decision. I mean, you said yourself to start with, if someone was going to give me $500,000 a year to go play somewhere, like, I mean, it's like leaving for the draft early. You can't fault somebody for leaving for the draft early. How can you fault them for changing schools?
there's a lot of good jobs in America that don't pay $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
said, that might be a one-time, like, that's the most money I made in my life at 20.
Well, I also think the unfortunate part of NIL is that it goes to, we're talking about skilled players here. Like, what about the guys who do the dirty work that make the skilled players look good?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like our O lineman or a D lineman or like a linebacker.
That's what's terrifying, man. I have a sinking suspicion that we might get looted by the portal this year. And every time I mention it on social media, people go, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. No way, these guys are blue and true." And I'm like, "Okay, man. No one's a better recruiter than Benjamin Franklin. That's just the fact of the matter. That's just a fact."
He's still recruiting?
Yeah, still.
Yeah. He's taking a secondary
Man
role.
of many
Yeah.
talents.
Not many words.
Yeah. Silent partner.
We're getting to the end of this. So do you want to talk about the actual game that's going to go on today, the Mountain West Championship, which by bouncing off a few stars and landing on the moon, Boise State's landed in this.
Yeah.
As they say, just it's not how you get the opportunity; it's what you do with it.
Yep,
So
yep, it's time for them to capitalize on this opportunity. Like, just plain and simple, they need to go out there today and take care of business.
What do you guys think of UNLV? Have you watched anything with UNLV other than you probably watched some of the game last week, like most Boise State fans?
Yep.
All of a sudden became UNLV fans.
Well, I think it showed. Well, not to talk down to San Jose State, but I think it just showed a lot where we can exploit weaknesses as a team, right? And like I said, not to talk down to San Jose State because they have been on an absolute terror for the last half of the season. Like San Jose State's playing excellent football. UNLV has played excellent football this year as well. So I think it's going to be a great game, an outstanding game. We need to go out there and play Bronco football and just handle business. I mean, I really don't know of another way to say it or to put a spin on it. It just, here's this opportunity. We have to go take it.
I think we run the football all over them.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a big part of the plan.
Good luck stopping it.
I'd like
And then
to-
defense will step up if they can just limit the big plays.
I'd like to see Genji and
Kalani.
Halani, with 200 plus yards rushing.
I see
That
it.
would,
I
that would
mean,
be amazing.
today's their day.
What's your thought, Turner?
About the game this week, I hope everyone stays healthy. That's a big. I mean, I'm a big Halani fan. I think his attitude after he came back from missing last season, he's out there playing every game like his last game,
Right.
and that's a statement he's made at the very beginning of the season. He's a solid kid. He's quiet. He comes to work, and goes home afterwards after he wrecks everybody, So I'm excited to see him in what may be his second to last game. He still has a year of eligibility left, I believe, but I think he's debating on whether or not to hang it up. I don't know. The kid looks healthy, so I don't see why he would. Yeah.
The way he's moving out there, he looks good to me.
Yeah, I know.
Give him that another year.
Maybe enter the draft. Maybe go finish out at Bama or something. Who knows?
Hey, Barry Sanders looked healthy that last game he played too.
The world. Yeah, and Bo Jackson too, right? Yeah.
No, he didn't look healthy though. The last baseball game maybe he played. No, that was.
Oh man.
Well,
So,
Boise State's a favorite today. I think that speaks to what you were saying about they look like the team playing a little bit better now. They're kind of on an upswing. UNLV may have peaked earlier in the season, but you got to go beat them at home. So, I mean, I guess the thoughts are, do you agree Boise State should be favored in this? If you're favored, then, you're expected to win. So.
I don't like favors. I don't like that. I think that just puts another line of pressure on the game in general. I just want to see a good football game. Like, if you watch a football game and you say, those guys played great football, and just when time ran out, they didn't have enough points. I feel good about those games. But when you watch a game and they play like crap and then they lose, it's like that's upsetting, right? It's just,
Never mind. Okay, so Colorado State this year then, because really they pulled off the like they caught the white whale, right? You score onside, score again, onside again, and then come down and kick a field goal. That never happens. You got to give them credit for that, dude, because they
100%.
executed the 4-minute drill to a perfect tee. But at the same time, God, we should have won that game, man.
Well,
I mean,
just-
We should
you
have
know
won
what
a
I'm
couple of
saying?
games.
Yeah.
I
but-
mean,
And we can say that for a lot of games that we lost
Memphis,
this year.
UCF, like
Yeah.
they were only 3 points
Yeah,
each
yeah.
game, and there were things that happened in that game where it was like, oh, that's what lost us the game.
If they just go out there and execute and
Yeah.
play Bronco football,
take care of the ball,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Go out
Take
there
care
and
of the
play
ball.
Bronco football, I think we're going to see a score that makes Bronco Nation happy. Like that's just
Yeah.
that's all I can say.
Yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I don't care about the point spread, but DraftKings, who illegally broadcast to me in the state, telling me I can bet on every game and every second of every
Right.
kid. So I have to mention the spread. I'm obligated to
Yeah,
mention
for sure.
that.
What is it?
100%.
What is this?
2.5? I think
Yeah,
Boise
2.5.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's not-
It's virtually a nothing.
Yeah,
A 3 or
I was gonna
nothing
say.
is a field goal. It's a coin toss.
Right, yeah.
Two and a half
as it should be.
as visitors. That's pretty good favorite.
They should be upset that it's not more. So
Well, I guess
use that.
what does the home team get usually? Is it 6 or
You get
or is it
3. Usually you
so
get
it's pretty
3 as
much
the home
even
team.
money, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's
So-
a toss up. It's a coin flip, is what Vegas is saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no, because we're getting 6. Because normally home team would get 3, but we have 3.
Yeah, so
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there's a little bit of a swing here, but
Well, I mean, that's not where UNLV plays.
that's
all the
true. So
time.
they'll be out of their element.
Right, and I know they talked about it in the Pac-12 championship game last night. Is that turf was just rolled out last week.
Oh.
So, I mean, they're playing in a different state. Yes, they'll have their.
Is that
you
that
know,
Raider turf?
Yeah, it's not Raider turf. It's brand new. It's
They
brand
won't
new
let
field
them
turf.
play on Raider turf. The Raider turf's been rolled up.
Right. But it's brand new turf. They talked about it last night because I don't know if you guys saw, there was a lot of slips and falls last night.
I
Like turf
didn't.
monsters,
Oh, man.
jumped up all over last night. So yeah, they're playing in a different stadium. Yes, they'll have their hometown fans, but they're also playing in a different stadium than what they're used to.
And I think the Broncos are going to maybe travel
That's true.
decent travel well to
Well,
Vegas.
the UNLV hometown fans have a lot of different things they
Distractions.
could
Yes,
be
they do.
doing today, as opposed to the Boise State fans. Not as many.
Correct.
Yeah, but this is a first for them too, isn't it? They've never played in a Mountain West championship game.
Oh, UNLV.
Yeah.
You're correct.
So I mean, in terms of what they bring to the stadium, who knows?
It'll be.
I
A
don't know.
good
I think
game
it'll
to
be a good
watch.
game. I think Boise, like I said, I think Boise State's gonna just run the ball down their throats.
Well, we're about 30 minutes from kickoff.
Yeah,
so we're
should
about
we
to
wrap
find
this
out
up
real
and,
quick.
and make them say an
Yeah,
actual number?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get scores from you guys. So whoever wants to go first.
I'm doing it as I always. 21-20 Boise State. That same.
21-20 was
21-20?
last
Till
week.
it's not. Close
I'm
game
gonna
is what
say,
I'm saying.
I think Boise State's gonna hang 35 and 35-27.
Yeah, I'm going with 37-34.
Well, that's.
Boise State.
Now I'm thinking the Air Force game, and I'm thinking I said 21-20 last week, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably that's.
Oh man, I'm gonna also repeat my score from last week and say 34-31.
34-31.
Who's nobody's got Boise State not winning.
Broncos always.
Let me
win.
change mine then. 21-20 UNLV. Bring it on. All right? Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta fix this real quick. All right, now
There we go.
he's muted now. So yeah.
Finally.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, anything you gentlemen want to announce, plug,
Yeah,
talk
plugs.
about? One last rant about Boise State, or
all your
No,
all
go
your side
Broncos.
businesses booming. You don't need to plug any of your side businesses. No.
No,
Nothing.
All right.
just go Broncos, man.
All right.
That's it.
Hey, thanks.
It's
About as good as it can get right there, folks.
Thanks for having us.
Oh,
right.
anytime.
Thanks for
We
coming.
expect you guys to come back frequently. We're ramping this up next season, so.
I know.
Oh yeah, come out! Don't forget, Suds Comedy. Check this out, guys. Every Tuesday night, we host an open mic right there in the corner of the bar. So if you're doing anything, if you're not doing anything Tuesday nights, come down, get buy one get one Wells here at Suds Tavern on 1024
Yeah.
Broadway Avenue, and listen to some interesting people. Try to be funny.
On the soapbox.
It's a good
Wait,
time.
What? When? What day?
Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights at 9:00.
I'm in bed.
Yeah.
I want to be in bed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense from a business perspective.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. All right.
Anyways,
well, that's your.
That's
your-
all we got. That's my shameless plug. Yeah, let's take us out of here, John.
I think we're good. We're good. We missed Q this week. Q,
Yeah.
we missed you. Get better.
Yeah,
well.
get better soon. Hope
We
hope
didn't
you're
really
feeling
miss
sick.
him. We didn't miss him. Love you, Q.
All right, and I guess we'll be back for a bowl game.
Oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and talk all the crap you want about us. We don't care, but that's it.
There you go. All right. Thank you.